flies keep coming. It's so hot out here. Like it's so weirdly hot. Like it's super still and hot.
Oh my God. Can you see my arm? Look at my arm. You
No, what?
see all those
Oh,
mosquito bites? At my sister's house yesterday, they were eating me up. I was like, oh my God, what is going
are
on?
they Gates mosquitoes or just regular mosquitoes?
Look, I don't know. That's why I was like, oh, I couldn't be out here with no, because, it's different, even species of mosquito. So,
There's all
yeah,
kind of different little, not little bugs and stuff. I'm like, that's because you guys are messing with it and
the
they're
one,
being
yeah.
creative.
If there's one pest that I cannot abide by, it is the mosquito.
Yeah,
I could live with roaches before I could live with mosquitoes. For
yeah,
real.
they just like
For
right
real.
in the
Yeah, because you can see them, you can't even feel them land on you and shit. You know what I'm saying? And then you just
I
look and you
know.
see them sucking your blood like, bitch, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like,
What's
oh,
wrong with you?
oh
Yeah.
yeah, man. That's
Like, what a sad existence.
I would rather live in a house with roaches. I mean, roaches at least they're as clean as their environment, right? So if you got a clean house, you got clean
Yeah.
roaches. Simple as that.
Oh God. I don't want, I just, nothing uninvited.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm with that, but I would rather have roaches than
Then,
mosquitoes. That's the one I just cannot abide by. So, we were going to talk about Biggie, but I'm kind of over that now. I guess it was like a couple of weeks. I feel like that was so two
I
weeks
know.
ago.
Well, I did my research there, and I had other scenarios that are kind of interesting. But like, if you're completely over it, then we don't have to.
Well, no, I'm not completely over it. In fact, let me see if I can bring this up for you real quick because I was starting to do research. I mean, I did a little bit of research on it, but there wasn't really going to be a lot of research on it because it was just
Right?
really
No,
gonna
there isn't.
it was going to be me just talking a whole lot of shit about Biggie because I can't stand his mush mouth having ass.
That was no, that's messed up. It was. I mean, dude is like. See, I wouldn't put up so much on Biggie as I would on Diddy.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
for sure.
I'm not mad at Diddy for riding the wave.
Why is this guy bringing it up now? Was my question. My main question. Like, why now? It's weird.
Um, I don't know, but it's just one of those common questions that always comes up.
Yeah, but I think that maybe Diddy paid him for it, and like statute was up, or I don't know, or the contract. I'm not sure, but like something. What is it? It's been how many years?
Probably 20 almost, right?
Yeah, it has to be 20. I think it's at least, if not 25.
Hey, what's up? I'm A-Dub from DX Daily Podcast, and check this out. So the Biggie versus Tupac debate continues to rage on in hip-hop fan circles, even 25 years after their untimely deaths. During a stop by SiriusXM earlier this week, Wiz Khalifa was asked by DJ Who Kid about his preferences between the rap deities since he's lived on both coasts for large portions of his life.
Wow. Yeah, I like Biggie because lyrically, like, you can still listen to Biggie shit today and like be like, wow, he really said that. Like, he talks about clothes and like brands in a crazy way. He talks about cars in a crazy way. He talks about women. He's just really poetic. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to say that one is better than the other.
Yeah.
But I just love how complex his bars are. Pac is raw. Pac is crazy. He's hard. His beat selection was wild. His work ethic was crazy. You know, just his attitude and, you know, everything like that. But I'm more on the Biggie side.
While he grew up 400 miles west of Brooklyn, the Pittsburgh native has repeatedly shown his appreciation for Biggie's discography by sampling him in his songs. Rolling Papers, The Race, and Wiz's Problem-Assisted Gin and Drugs both sampled the big classic Going Back to Cali. Wu-Tang Clan luminary RZA weighed in on the Biggie versus Tupac debate during an interview with The Art of Dialogue last year. Unlike Wiz Khalifa, RZA sided with the death row legend.
Once again, immaculate voice, but what Pac had, I think, was a way of touching us on all of our emotions. And especially on, like, Pac had the power to infuse your emotional thought, like Brenda has a baby, dear mama. But then he had the power to arouse the rebel in you. You know?
Yeah.
And those two things, actually, he was probably more dangerous than Big, Notorious B.I.G. Like Notorious B.I.G., we could party with him to this day. We're still, but Pac was probably going to a point, you know, he was more going into the Malcolm X of things, and
Yeah.
and society fears that.
Yeah, so he was really good at communicating love and at starting revolutions.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's dangerous.
very dangerous. And Big communicated love, but he wasn't starting revolutions.
As far as Wiz Khalifa's own music goes, Wiz Khalifa is readying his experimental multiverse album, which arrives next Friday, July 29th. But we want to know who you prefer, Biggie or Tupac? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on all of our new videos, and subscribe to the DX Daily Podcast on all streaming platforms. And as always, make sure to keep it all the way locked to hiphopdx.com.
Yeah, I like Hip Hop DX. I don't know if you watch them.
But that was a good
Short
that's
little
a great
piece, right?
title,
Yeah.
title for the song. For his album, Wiz Khalifa.
Okay.
Diverse.
Okay.
Yeah, that's dope.
Well, you know, I mean, Wiz is all right.
He's not. No, I'm not a
He's
fan.
all right, but like, I'm trying to figure out how anybody just could like Biggie over Tupac. I just don't.
I don't
understand.
understand. That doesn't. My thing is, why did they put them against each other at all? Like for what?
Well, that's true too, but yeah, but at the same time, hip hop is about I'm the dopest, I'm the best, I'm the hardest. So
Yeah.
Comparisons are going to be, but I just don't know how Biggie's not continuously like slapped down. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop playing. Like, he's not even in the same category.
Yeah.
Biggie is good, and he did what he did, and he impacted the game somewhat, but he impacted the game at the time when Puffy was wearing shiny clothes and dancing, and you know, and Suge was dissing him at the Def Jam, at the what was it? What the awards was?
The Source Awards.
Yeah, the Source Awards. He's like, you don't want it, your producer dancing in the videos.
Right. Like
Right.
he was his own. I don't compare the two because they're not the same. It was different. It was completely everything, their goals, their message, their look, their everything was completely different. It's just they do that. They put, there's always has to be a duality. Every time there's a duality, I feel like it's not real.
But I'm not even sure that there's a duality, is my point. My point is one's a penny and one's a nickel. Yeah. You know, you can compare them in that they're both coins, and you can spin them just as well. But I would definitely need 5 Biggie albums to compare with Tupac's repertoire. I mean, just what Tupac's, just his unreleased stuff can still touch in Biggie stuff. I mean, you could still listen to. I'm sorry, I just don't. I can't. For me, almost everything Puffy did was bitten. He was almost everything.
How did they even? I could see.
And he helped transform hip hop from being about something to being about consumerism. That's solely at his feet. It was him with the big videos and the dancing and the shiny, and I got this and I got that.
The Hype Williams,
yeah.
And you got to think that's pretty much all they had. Like that's why they did it. Like they didn't have anything to fall back on besides
because of that. That's why I give this credibility. Now, this is what we were talking about before. Let me see. Let me show you. Let's see. The reason that we started talking about this in the first place is because we came across this, and it was kind of saying, did Puff and Big steal Juicy? And I'm inclined to believe that they probably did. Now, this is the old version. Check it out. Knocking though, right?
You said what?
I said this is knocking though, right? Whoever this is, I mean, Notorious B1. Like, I'm not mad at him, but really, that's the thing about Puffy was biting everything, because this is not really that it's not really that this is knocking. it's that song that Juicy from M2 made is the jam. Right?
Exactly.
So you could put it up
Exactly.
again, you could lay it any kind of way you want it, but that's what's knocking about it.
See, the thing is that Puffy, see, what Bad Boy was getting at the time was submissions, like 24/7, because everybody wanted to be signed to Bad Boy. So that was just like a candy store for him. He could just get something, and I'd be willing to see, his legal team is pretty tight, like Bad Boy, because they get into some shit. So I'd be willing to bet that he paid for it, like he threw some
Threw
money
some
on
money
it.
at Notorious B1.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
So
why he's
yeah,
been quiet for so
here's
long.
$5,000. We're gonna take your name and your
Exactly.
song and turn it
The
into
name, though, that's the weird thing. The name is
right.
that's like, you couldn't. I mean, like, what was Biggie called before? Biggie,
He
just
was
Biggie,
Biggie Smalls, right? No,
just
yeah,
Biggie Smalls, and then Notorious B.I.G. came with that first album,
yeah,
or Juicy with Juicy.
yeah. I think there was somebody else with the name Biggie Smalls or something like
See,
that.
I see the way Diddy does business. In my experience, I wouldn't put it past him to not even have told Big.
Okay, right? I feel that too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel that too. Hey,
and
this is what you're
so
gonna do.
yeah,
Trust me,
exactly.
it's gonna be a hit. Trust me, it's
And
gonna
and
work.
he probably freaked the beat, like he just did it and made it his own. That's what it. I mean, I used to work for a production company that will go nameless for now, and
Mhm.
we had a bunch of producers under us, and the two main producers who owned the company basically, and they had the song deals with Clive Davis and whoever, and so the splits were always 80 for the producer that did the track and then 20 for the company, the main two producers. But if they came in and they just touched the track, I mean, touched it, like, that sounds good, it flipped. So they got 80 and the producers that did the track got 20.
What?
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I need a deal like that.
Yeah, no, you don't want to deal like that because it's mean.
Well, no, I'm just kidding. I'm
I know,
just I wouldn't actually, but yeah, yeah, that should that all the deals should be that good, right?
exactly.
So what were you gonna show me?
Well, I was okay. Well, but first, wait, hold on. So, yeah, I mean, what do we conclude here? I think that the conclusion as far as I'm concerned, can be that he got paid. That little 5 Gs or whatever was ran out or whatever.
The
And
conclusion,
now,
yeah. He had his 15 minutes of fame and it lasted longer because he and Tupac both got shot. That's my opinion.
right,
His whole career is basically bitten. He didn't
right.
really, and I'm not saying that to take away from him as a talent, because he didn't have enough time really to let us know what he could really do. He only had the couple of joints, really. That's
Yeah,
about
he
it.
didn't have like 7 albums after his demise, right?
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, Tupac was the first one with a double album, so he broke that barrier. Biggie was just biting. You know what I'm saying? Everything he did, he was second.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, to you and to me, but yeah, there's people that would.
Well, I mean, plus he's mush mouth
Yeah,
and really depressing, only talking about death and like weird,
always,
like
yeah, and also
psychotic shit.
always talking about, yeah, me, I, me,
Yeah, yeah.
me.
I'm
Whereas Tupac, he had
cool.
stories, he had solutions, he had revolutions. He was like, yeah,
There you go. I'm cool with you being from the streets, but you're supposed to be spitting games so that other youngsters don't have to follow in your footsteps. You're supposed to be making us stronger, really.
right,
What's the point in talking? I mean, I'm good with commentary and storytelling and stuff, but what's the point in talking if you ain't
yeah.
got nothing to
But
say?
always about you, then I can't relate.
Yeah.
People can't relate to it, so then they try to go out and get that same thing. They don't have the means, they don't have, the facade. Basically, it was all theater. It's theater, and you can, this is stuff like this is what I feel like the lesson we should get from it is that it is all theater. It's not real, like none of it's
Right.
real.
Nothing. Yeah, none of it. Yeah, there you go. None of it's real. It's all
Yeah.
bullshit.
Tupac would say that too. That's why I respect him. He'd be like, "This, you think this is my life? This ain't my life. Like, I'm not a gangster. Like, you think I just like."
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's a good conclusion. So what I was gonna go to from there are other accusations made against celebrities that seem, bizarre, and what the likelihood is that they're real. So I have this one pulled up. I think, I really wanted to find the court papers because, the media will spin it like it's nonsense, and maybe it is. I don't know. So the one that I'm talking about specifically is Kimberly. What the hell is her last name? Kimberly. Hold on.
What did she do?
She accused Beyonce of extreme witchcraft.
Oh, her drummer.
Yeah, her drummer.
I was just actually remembering this. It was on the news, I think, this last week.
It was on the news, and then it was the case was dropped because she brought it to court. I don't know if that's where you bring something like that.
Right.
But the accusation was that she killed her kitten too, and was into extreme like sexual witchcraft and the transference of energies, and that she had strange spiritual surveillance on her finances and everything, and killed her kitten, which that got me. It's like, nobody's gonna kill a kitten around here.
What was that movie, Fatal Attraction? That's some crazy stuff, right? When they kill the rabbit. Yeah, man.
None of that. So I was actually trying to find the actual court case because I wanted to see what her entire allegations were, you know. It was dropped. I'm sure I can find them at some point, but what do you think of that accusation? Like, where does that come from?
Oh, they're starting to mow the lawns out there. Can you hear that?
I don't hear it.
I gotta say, I don't know. This is why. This is the thing. I try to stay in the realm of what I can prove or what's been validated or whatever, as far as when I talk about stuff. So I'm trying to talk about stuff that I don't know, right? That being said, there are so many indications that something like this may be happening behind the scenes. Problem is, I ain't never been to one of these parties, right? I haven't actually seen anything. I hear stories. I hear lots and lots of stories.
It wouldn't let you because you're not.
Right, because I wouldn't be down, especially at this point, you know, 20, 30 years ago when I was first trying to get into the music business. Oh yeah, I would have went. I might have ate the baby back then. You know what I'm saying? If that's what they had to do. Listen, if that's what you had to do. There was a time in my life where, you know, I mean, it was just wild. You know, you didn't, before you know what you don't know, you know, it's a crazy time. So yeah, there was a moment in there that, like, I mean, if I didn't eat it, I would have been baby eating adjacent.
And you would have never come back.
I would have been like Andrew Ridgely to George Michael.
Oh,
I would have been like Billy to Manili. Billy to Manili.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't know you. You wouldn't have came back. You don't bounce back from that. You either get dead or you get.
I know. It's funny because I had a house fire. I don't know if I told you this, and I lost all my music, all my gear. I lost everything. So like, was that a blessing? Was that something looking out for me? I don't know.
That's hard. Yeah.
It's a trip, right? Because at the time I was heartbroken. I don't think I listened to music for like 5 years straight, something like that.
Oh wow!
I don't even think I listened to music. I just couldn't.
You're frozen.
Huh? Oh yeah, it'll unfreeze. Yeah.
Shock G. Shock G. You know Shock G from Digital Underground?
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know if I'm interrupting you or what, because you're freezing.
Yeah, you're freezing too, but you'll come back. Just keep talking.
So, Shock G from Digital Underground. Yeah. he was a family friend. He passed, and
he didn't get enough publicity about that. In fact, when he passed, it was the same week as another hip hop sort of icon passed. It was in the same week. I don't remember who it is now, but I remember I think I put something in the news about Shock G.
Oh no, I think it wasn't. Was it Black Rob? Did he die, or he was?
No, it wasn't Black Rob. Black Rob died a while ago, I think.
Okay, and it wasn't DMX, but it was like all the same.
It might have been DMX. Okay. It might have been DMX. But so I just remember somebody died, and Digital Underground, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated hip hop. I love Digital Underground, and me and my boy, my homie Woogie back in the day, they got this song called "It's a Good Thing That We're Rapping." I don't know if you know this song, but that was like our anthem. It was like, oh my God, it's so glad that we making music and doing this, because if it wasn't for the rapping, we'd be macking. Good thing we got music. If not, we're stuck with finding a way to get ahead, and then we got to use it, right? Oh my God!
What Money, both Money and Shock were in our wedding party, like that. Their family. Mun's out here right now.
Okay.
And Shock, I have chills talking about him because he was
so talented.
He was like the prince of hip hop. I wouldn't even say hip hop. The prince of our generation or something, you know, like he's so
No, I mean,
talented and
I'm
he's
a
such
huge DU fan. I'm serious. I mean, like, I love some DU heartbeat props, you know. I love you. I just love them.
I mean,
And
think about even like the Sex Packet album, like was
mhm.
so prolific for its like it's like and digital underground, the name, just the name itself, like
Yeah, and how they was all up in the P funk, the way they mix those
yep,
samples and turn them around and flip them and stuff. I learned a lot from them too. I mean, I sampled like what when I was doing music, or whatever. I'd sample a lot like them, and that you could almost not tell what the song was that I sampled, but you knew it was some kind of P funk something. You know,
right.
you
That
can't do
sound.
that stuff no more now. You don't make money, but you know, but yeah, back in the day, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, big, you know, brand new sweater. Oh yeah.
So he had a house fire too, though, was my point. Like, and
Oh, okay.
he lost. I mean, like he lost unreleased TuPac stuff, like unreleased Digital Underground, like all his, you know, plaques and award, just everything. Like, and he at that after that point is when he was like, I mean, after carrying it around with him for like years, you know, like that was rough. But after that, he had no attachments. He just was like,
Yeah.
no, there's no point.
There's no point. Yeah. It
It's
taught me a
never,
lot.
yeah.
It taught me a lot. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want anyone else to have to learn that way.
Hmm.
But it taught me a lot.
That's why you tell
So
your stories, because you have to, like, maybe people will get it from that. But yeah, I mean, he would come to our house and be like, "You guys have too much clutter or whatever." And I'm like, "It's my stuff, leave me alone," or whatever. But like, he's right. Like, you can't, like, what are you
Yeah.
holding on for? Hold on to it for. So yeah, no, all that came from Beyonce, I guess. But so my when I was in it, I don't know. People will ask me questions about this. It's like you don't see it when you're in it. It's when you get out that you look back and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, I produced a ton of the videos that people would say, you know, that's Illuminati messaging. This is not. It's not done that way. They don't sit. You don't sit down and be like, this is how we're gonna do it. You
I
know,
know.
it's not done that way.
Yeah. It's
So
compartmentalized.
it is, and it's
It's very
also
compartmentalized.
manipulated.
Yeah.
Too. Like you'll do like this the video when I look back at the I think the most like apparent one would be the Usher video that we did for Little Freak. And it's Nicki Minaj and Usher. And it
I
is
love that
so
song, by the way. You
a
know what I'm
Little
saying?
Freak, yeah.
Oh my God, I love well, because I love the Stevie Wonder sample in the background, right? That's Stevie Wonder in the background of that song, right?
You know, I didn't work on the record. Well,
But
yeah,
the song, it's Living for the City, right?
I don't know. In Little Freak?
Yeah. I'm
If that's
pretty sure.
you might be right. You might be right. Yeah. I'm in
Okay,
music and
so
everything,
this is
I'm a
gonna
lyric
cut
person.
off in just in about 5 minutes. But when
Okay.
and I'm gonna edit this one together, but when it comes back, I will have Lil Freak, and what's the other one that I need to have on here?
Look, pull up the video.
Yeah, I'm
Pull
gonna
up
pull
the
up the
video
video
because
for Lil
I
Freak.
want to show you like how it's like you can look at it and do a you know, an assessment or an Illuminati breakdown or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's so apparent and in it. I mean, we were so in it. Like I was the director was a director I repped. So we were meeting and I was like double dipping. So I was on Usher's creative team too. So I was doing the like we were consultants, but it's a long story. It's all intertwined. But so I was on both sides. So I would be talking to his head of creative, what she wanted to see. So
Mhm.
that's where some of it came in, and then the rest I would go back to the director, and we had to come back to the drawing board like 10 times with the video until they were happy. But in our minds, it was like our ideas were making them happy. But in when I look back, I was like, those weren't our ideas, really,
Right.
you know. And
Yeah.
because it's presented in a different way, like we give the directors the song and they write what they feel, but it's not always, you know, when you look at it a little deeper, you're like, wait, how much was a lead? How much of this was a lead, you know?
Right.
And then it has to
Well,
go
and
through.
also they're really good at picking the stuff that they like that supports whatever they like, if that makes any
Exactly.
sense, right? So they'll,
Yeah,
you know, this song's going to be a hit, but they know that that song supports whatever agenda that they're
exactly.
pushing.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're
Yeah,
good at that too.
it's so inbred in all different the departments from art to creative to at the studio in the actual recording studio, you know, like starts there, but like it's all and nobody knows. It's kind of like that useful idiot thing, you know? It's like
Well,
nobody
nobody
knows.
cares.
Right. I mean, they don't care, but they also are so wrapped up and caught up in what's going on in the moment that you don't stop and
Yes, this is what I'm
wait a
saying.
minute.
Nobody
Mm,
cares.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because why would you? I mean, you're for a lot of these people, you know, some people just getting into the studio is living the dream. You know what I'm saying? Some people just.
Right.
I remember the first time I walked into the studio, I thought like, oh, I'm in the studio.
Right.
You know what I'm
And was it
saying?
a big one? Was it like the? Because I remember walking into my first 24 track studio and being like, oh, it's Star Trek. Like it seemed like it was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you know, so especially with new artists, so anything you throw at them just looks like it's just wonderful. Everything is until you know and understand what's up, you don't know and understand what's up.
It's so weird too, because like the beast just feeds itself. It's like you just start to see these shifts and you're like, oh, that's what the labels want now. And so you just automatically start creating in that direction without thinking like, what is the impact? So so the Beyonce thing was one, and then we'll talk about the little freak thing. But I wanted to just put on the table too. Did you hear Crazy Bone? Was it Crazy Bone? Yeah, Crazy Bone's accusation on, well, not his accusation, but he received a letter. He said that was to the record head. It was somebody that worked in the industry. It was a record head, former record head, I should say, who doesn't anymore, but said that I need to just put this out there that we were called to a very important meeting and like the names were left out, but they had to go someplace. There's all the like heads of the label, like all the heads of creative department of art department, like everybody in music, A&R, and they were brought into a meeting where they had to sign a non-disclosure and all this stuff. And then the president of the label basically said that they were getting into the private prison industry. Do you know this story?
I do know this story.
Yeah.
But go ahead and tell it anyway.
Well, yeah, private prison industry, and that they needed their compliance, they needed their assistance basically to create in a direction that would cause people to basically go to prison. So when hip hop had that shift from, you know, consciousness to murder,
You know, this
rap,
reminds
basically.
me, I actually started to write a piece on this. I think it's in my blog or something. I wrote about this and I cited this article that was talking about not that particular story, but the whole way that the music industry feeds the prison pipeline. And you know, it was one of my missions with daddyflirt.com, because I was like, no psycho music, no music with no black men killing each other, no depression,
Right.
no I mean,
Right.
like, you know, I'm not looking for gospel music, but look, I don't have no trouble concentrating on the pretty girl that's walking by, right? That's shaping.
Right.
You don't got to
Exactly.
remind me of that, right? You
Right.
got to
No.
remind me of the stuff I need to be reminded of.
Exactly. Like, because you think about back in the day, I mean, like, you know, this is very Gen X of me, but like we had like Dead Prez was saying something that was something, you know, like you listen to it now and it was still knocking, like you could still ride to it. And the music these days.
And this particular one, I'll edit out this part that we're
Yes,
doing.
I figured. I hope so. Okay.
Actually, you know, this was supposed to be just us catching up. This wasn't even supposed to be part of the show.
Oh, I thought we were gonna go ahead and do this.
We did, because I told you once we get started, it was gonna be like that. You know what I'm saying? So this was actually supposed to be the warm up. So.
Okay.
All right.
So we're warm.
I'll get at you.